Hello, I'm Ryan F9 and these are the best comm systems. Let's start with the foolproof choice. If you're lost in the techie swamp and don't know what to get, just get a Cardo Pack Talk. The reason for that is DMC, Dynamic Meshwork Communication. Basically, this device creates living connections. It wants to make friends with other units. It adapts. If one rider leaves the group, everyone else stays connected. When he comes back within range, he's automatically re-added. If I fall out of range from the rider in front, the other units all work together to leapfrog my signal to the point man. And if I fall out of range from everybody, this resourceful little guy will use my mobile phone to make the call. Put simply, DMC makes Bluetooth less of a pain in the ass, especially for technophobes. The Pack Talk is also that foolproof choice in that no matter what you want a comm system to do, it can probably do it. Phone calls, GPS, radio, MP3, music streaming, music sharing with other units, voice commands, conference calls with 4 people, and toggled intercom with 10, which is actually more like 15 on the new firmware upgrade. Also, you can keep your music or navigation in the background while having conversations. As for downsides, this owner's manual is the most confusing piece of literature ever written. You'd be better off burning it and deciphering smoke signals. Also, I find the Pack Talk tricky to use with gloved hands. I mean, this wheel is fine, but it takes a really strange amount of force to click. And then up here I have a 3-button system, which is always a bad idea for gloves. Cardo also got a bit overexcited about their range. They say 1.6 kilometers from unit to unit, but in my experience it's more like 800 meters. They also say 8 kilometers with the group leapfrogging ability, but there's no friggin' way. Even in rural Saskatchewan, you're never gonna see 8 kilometers on this unit. But I forgive Cardo for exaggerating their stats because the Pack Talk is otherwise brilliant. It's the best unit out there. Competition for the Pack Talk isn't all that competitive. I mean, Sena makes the 20S, which is chunkier, leakier, and harder to use. They also make the new 30K, which finally brought out an adaptive mesh connection feature, kind of like the Pack Talk's DMC, but the 30K also fails to be waterproof, plus it costs about $100 more than the Pack Talk. Speaking of cost, let's say that I can't afford $350 for a Pack Talk. Then what? Well, the Sena 10S offers the best value for money. Essentially, this mid-level communicator came along right after Sena released their top-of-the-line 20S, so just by nature of being in the right place at the right time, you got a lot of that same tech for less money. Radio, GPS, phones, universal intercom with non-Sena products, voice commands, music sharing with other devices, and it can do a few of those things at the same time. So this mid-level communicator has high-end features. And the 10S also boasts some premium level stats, 12 hours talk time, 10 days on standby, and 1.6 kilometers from device to device, which is exaggerated a bit, but it's still better than most. Plus I get as many configuration options as the Pack Talk, a wired mic, a boom mic, regular speakers, etc. And because this is a 3.5mm jack, I could also use my own earbuds if I preferred. The 10S even has an auxiliary port down here for plugging in non-Bluetooth devices like older GPS systems and radar detectors. I mean, not even the Pack Talk offered that. So this is just like a top-of-the-line communicator, only at MSRP's $100 cheaper. What's the catch? Well, only 4 riders can get in on the conversation, so the 10S is a bad choice if you have a lot of friends. Also, this tiny little clip that attaches the unit to the mounting plate, it doesn't seem very secure. Then there's the FM radio, which is a total farce. I mean, I've been using this on Highway 40 in Montreal, a place where I know I can find about 1 million radio stations, but the 10S picks up 2, maybe 3, and the reception quality is shit. Finally, the 10S gets the same stunning HD quality speakers that the 20S gets, which you'd think would be a good thing, but in reality these sound a bit tinny, and if you install them behind cheek pads that are pretty thick, they're too quiet. So, what do I buy if I want better sound quality? Uclear Amp Pro. It's right there in the name. Amp. When it comes to sound quality, make sure you get this $350 Pro version. Now, Uclear does make other amp devices, but only the Amp Pro gets these, the Pulse Pro speakers. Imagine really meaty audio. It's loud, it's complex, the highs are high, the lows are low. That's what you get with the Uclear Amp Pro. If you want to cruise the Trans-Canada while experiencing the full vocal range of Mariah Carey, then this is the comm system to choose. For pure sound quality, nothing else can touch it. There are 2 and only 2 other things that the Uclear does well. One is linking massive groups of people. In theory, there's no limit to the number of riders you can connect, since each Amp Pro communicator also acts as a relay for the rest of the group. The more devices you have, the larger your network can be. I've found that the range on the Amp Pro is the limiting factor there, but hey, I mean, if you can cram 1,000 riders into 700 meters or so, power to you. The other thing the Amp Pro does well is half helmets. See, this comm uses tendril mics, which run under the liner of your helmet and sit on either side of your forehead. It's some real Star Trek shit, but they can actually feel the vibrations of my voice from up here. And obviously that's brilliant for open-face lids, since using a boom mic would otherwise result in a tornado of wind noise. In every other way, the Amp Pro is below average. I mean, sure, it does all the usual comm system stuff, music, GPS, whatever, but it's finicky. The 3-button system is a little bit tricky to use with gloves, and then it's so hard to get this thing set up that Uclear includes not 1, but 2 warning signs. I mean, they're basically begging me to call tech support before returning the Amp Pro in frustration. But hey, if you mainly want epic sound quality, the Amp Pro can't be beat. Now I could end my video right here because the 3 comms we've seen cover 95% of riders. But no man is left behind at Fortnine, so here are 3 oddball choices for the other 5%. First is the Cardo FreeComm, an ideal unit for people without friends. Get the FreeComm 1 if you only want to talk to yourself, or you can get the FreeComm 2 if you only want to talk to your pillion. Either way, it is super cheap and it does all the music, GPS, phone, and voice command stuff. Then there's the Sena 10U, which is just like that 10S we saw earlier, except it's not all wrapped up on one external puck device. It's actually broken down into this bespoke fitment for the showy Neotech, J-Cruise, and GT Air, the Schuber C3 and C3 Pro, NERI Full Face, and the Climb Krios. The nice thing about the 10U is that it doesn't leave a brick on the outside of your helmet. It just fits sleekly into the interior, not affecting aerodynamics at all. The not so nice thing is that it's only available to go in a few types of helmets. Also, its range is about 600 meters shorter than the regular 10S. And you control it with this secure and unobtrusive handlebar clamp, which is neither that secure nor that unobtrusive. Even still, I can't deny that it's cool to get a tailor-made fit. My final oddball choice is the Sena 10C for people who want a camera and a comm system in the same device. As a communicator, the 10C is subpar. Looking at it next to the other devices I've mentioned, it's bloody massive. And plus the wheel is actually really small, so I find it quite difficult to use, especially with gloves on. And the 10C has about the same features list as the Sena 10S, by the way, with slightly better battery life and slightly worse Bluetooth range. And as a video camera, well, you can probably tell it's also a bit mediocre. 1080p at 30 frames per second or 720p at 30 or 60. It's not the best. Also, while it can stitch my audio and the visuals together on the fly, it always comes out sounding a little bit tinny, doesn't it? Whether it's my voice, or my music, or my phone call that I'm recording. In my opinion, the 10C is not a good motovlogging tool. The video and sound quality is going to annoy your viewers, but if you just want to take some home video or use it as a dash cam for capturing accidents, then this is perfect. That's because of something called video looping and video tagging. In the former mode, the 10C is constantly recording new footage and constantly erasing old footage, and that way you don't have to wipe your microSD card all the time. Instead, you just wait until an interesting incident occurs, and then you go in and download that most recent piece of video. Video tagging, on the other hand, doesn't keep anything until you actually hit this button. And once you do, the camera's going to keep 3 minutes of footage, some before you hit the button and some after, so you get that beautiful piece of road or that near miss with a moose, plus some context on either side. Only downside is that video looping and tagging drains the battery super fast, like 2 hours or less, but at least you can charge on the fly with this 12-volt plug. Oh, I should mention that the new 10C Evo is coming out later this year. It's going to have a larger Bluetooth range, 2K video, and Wi-Fi capability. I'm not quite sure it's going to be worth the jump in price to most people. I mean, especially motovloggers, they're still going to be better off with a GoPro. That's it for my favorite comm systems. Thanks for watching.